welcome to the Swift Half, your weekly session of chat from the UKOCR and adventure running scene. Each week, pub landlord Alan and our favourite regular Ian discuss races, runners and anything else that comes to mind. So pull up a pew, pour yourself a drink and join us for the Swift Half.
Ian, my friend, welcome to what might be a very long Swift Half tonight.
We say that, Alan. We got plans for it to be long, and then the listeners probably staring at their podcast app thingamajig going, it's only 25 minutes. What are we talking about?
It might only be 25 minutes. There's a lot to talk about this week. And I'm like, I was looking at the notes and I was thinking, oh God, that might go on for long, that might go on for long. And then we put a couple of other stories on there and we're thinking, oh, this might be a long one. So listeners, if it is, I hope you enjoy it. If it's not long, that's cool. Listen to another one after this.
And we hope you enjoy it too.
Yeah, we do. Before we get into all the news, let's go straight in with what are you drinking tonight, Ian?
Well, we were talking about meal deals a few weeks back, weren't we, listeners? It was either last week or the week before. And I went to Tesco and I maximised my meal deal, but I didn't drink the drink. So tonight I am on a bottle of Naked, who are Mrs. Blue Super Smoothie with blueberry, goji berry, and blackcurrant. And Alan, do you want to know the thing that makes me laugh about the bottle?
Go on.
It says, loving this, next time try a big bottle. Is there anyone on the entire planet who has a bottle of Naked Smoothie which isn't part of a Tesco meal deal?
I didn't even know you could buy them in big bottles.
I didn't think, well, the bottles used to be big. It's now 300 mils. I'm sure when I first started maximising my meal deal, they were 500. Eventually, it's just going to be a little shot.
I just think everything's getting smaller in size, and more expensive in everything. Everything's getting more expensive.
More sugar too. I think there's more sugar in this than a can of Coke, which is kind of worrying.
Especially when it's supposed to be healthy for you.
Yeah, they give that impression, don't they? It's meant to be healthy. But
put smoothie on anything you think it's healthy, yeah. Put smoothie on anything makes you think you're healthy.
Right, I can't wait for Budweiser smoothie.
Budweiser. I like that.
You?
One of the reasons why I want to get into drinking early tonight, Ian, is because I've got a story from the week, and I've got two stories that revolve around beer. But let me tell you what I'm drinking first of all. So I am drinking Wholesome Stout, which Steve got for me. So this is the third bottle that Steve got for me, and it's part of my first story from the weekend. So I went down to Spartan, as you know, stroke British Obstacle Sports, British Championships, and they had Athletic Brewery were down there, Ian.
Athletic Brewery?
Yeah. So I went over there, introduced myself, told them about this podcast, said that we drank alcohol in there, usually non-alcohol, and guess what they gave me?
Nothing.
Well, they actually gave me one can of beer, Ian. One can of bloody beer. Just the one. So that's your shout-out, Athletic Brewing. You're not getting another shout-out. I got one beer. So that's my first story from the weekend. Because normally, Brewdog, Brewdog at ETM gave me 7 or 8 cases of beer, and 9 cans. Slightly different. Not that I was looking for free, but I was expecting one of each. But he wouldn't even give me one of each. He just gave me one of their gold. He actually went, which one would you like? So I went, we'll have the pale gold. And I thought he was going to give me a can of 4 because he had cans of 4 on the tabletop. And no, he just gave me 1 can. Bless him. But thank you very much. I've not drank it. I'm going to drink it next week on the show because I haven't tried it. But my other story, Ian, I had a pint of shandy on Saturday night when I got down there. Yeah. Forest Row. We went in a pub, pint of shandy. How much do you think a pint of shandy cost me, Ian?
I'm going to say a pint of shandy, it depends how much beer is, but a pint of shandy shouldn't be any more than the actual pint of beer. It should be less because you're technically getting half a beer and some lemonade. So maybe £3.
I would have expected £3, maybe £4 at a push. Yeah. I'm going to explain to people now, I am a northerner when I say this because it cost me £5 bloody 80 pence. £5.80 for a pint of shandy, Ian.
So they charge you for a pint and charge you for a pint of lemonade at the same time, yeah?
I think they must have, mate, yeah. I must have been charged for a pint of lager and a pint of shandy. Someone at the bar next to me got a pint of beer, and his beer only cost him £3.80. Why did my pint of shandy cost me £3 more? Or £2 more, sorry. Couldn't wear their masks out then.
I know exactly why, Alan. It's because you didn't do 2-for-1 cocktails.
We should have gone on cocktails. They might have been actually cheaper. I'm going to try this stout anyway. A smooth, dark beer, 4.6%. Cheers, Steve. Let's have a taste. That's very chocolatey. That's a nice stout, Ian, that.
Speaking of Steve, after last week, when we were joking a little bit about 800 meters, he went out and did it, didn't he?
He did, actually, yes. He ran 800 meters. He's challenged people in the pub to run 800 meters.
He has challenged, and thus far I haven't done it, but quite a respectable time. 3 minutes 12. I'm not sure when it comes to 800 meters what a great time is, but I think that's perfectly respectable, particularly because it wasn't on a track. It kind of looks like he'd overlapped a little bit. He was running around a block and overlapped. I love it that Strava has hidden the start, but because he did it in a circular route and overlapped, you can tell where the start is.
Have you noticed that Strava does a lot of that now, hiding routes and things like that?
I do, and I kind of agree with it because it is incredibly easy on Strava to dock someone, to find out where someone lived, or it used to be. Not that I'd ever do it, but I felt a couple of times that if anyone went on my Strava, and again, that's the only social media where I have more followers than I actually follow, you could quite easily find out where I live just by looking where I run or where I work, just by having a look at the map.
Very much so. I do like how it moves it, but you are quite right. If you do overlap anywhere, it's quite easy to see where it is. I tend to find I run past my house to get that extra little bit of distance in. And if you've got 5.8 mile, I've got to run the 0.2 to round it up to 6.
Why don't you run it 0.4 to round it up to 6.21 to get you a 10K?
See, now you're really pushing this. No, that's going to be in my head next time I run 6 miles. That's going to be in my head. And then I'm going to run 6.21 and go, no, that number's not right. So I'm going to try and run 7 miles. No, you're just pushing me too far, Ian. You're just pushing me too far. Talking about that 800 meter time, I wonder, now you've got to work this out. So 5 kilometers, have you got a calculator on you?
I've got a phone.
Okay, a phone then. So 5 kilometers, if it's run in 15 minutes, we'll say 15 minutes. So that's 3-minute miles in 3-minute kilometers. What's an 800 meter pace at that?
An 800 meter of how fast?
If you run it at 3 minutes per kilometer.
3 minutes per kilometer, 800 meter. I don't know. How long? Sorry, again. 3-minute kilometer.
Yeah. So you run a kilometer in 3 minutes. So you divide that by 100. Is that right? No, you can't divide it by 100. I don't know.
10 times it by 8 gives you. Oh, yeah. Who cares? It's probably about 3 minutes or 2 minutes.
I think it's about 2 minutes 20 something. So 2 minutes 20 something. Yeah, that's how fast Kelvin Kipton ran per 800 meters when he did the marathon at the weekend.
Yeah, I don't think it was 2 minutes. Would it be 2 minutes? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I can work this out. So it's 180 minutes. Yeah, and if you divide that by 100, so minus 36, so it's 124. 2 minutes 24 seconds for 800 meters.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you're trying to work out the marathon one, that was fairly easy. Just tell me what his per mile was and divide it by 2.
No, but I'm trying to tell you how fast he ran every 800 meters. Every 800 meters, his first part were 2 minutes 24 seconds.
That is impressive, unlike our math skills. Or ability to think ahead.
What a time, though. 2 hours, 1 minute, 9 seconds for a marathon. Absolutely crazy. And I think it's the fastest last half of a marathon anyone's ever run.
the fastest last half of a marathon.
Yeah. So I mean, absolutely, mate. He ran it in 59 minutes, which, if I'm right at this now, I have read that if it had done the European Championships the other week and ran the half marathon at the pace he's ran this marathon, it would have finished in 5th place at the European Championships.
You mean had he ran the marathon and joined the half marathon halfway through his marathon, he would have finished 5th?
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive.
That is impressive, isn't it? What a crazy. Do you think he's going to break the 2 hour?
I think eventually, yes, he will. How much of it is down to his shoes, though?
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? Because he's been wearing these new Nike shoes that have you seen this? I don't like them. Have you seen them? They've got a huge, massive heel on them and things like that.
They look like speedboats.
That's a very good eulogy. They do look like a speedboat. I've got to give that. I don't know. There's got to be a lot of elements of skill in it. But yeah, you're quite right. There's also going to be a little bit of technology in there.
I want to see how fast he can do it in a pair of Crocs in sports mode.
He's got to go to Sports Direct in Barnsley, pick up a pair of Crocs from there, and then run to Sports Direct in Leeds, which is about 26 miles. And he's got to see how fast he does it then.
We're a pair of Crocs. I didn't realise such a thing existed, Alan, but according to Tom Hogan, Crocs have a sports mode.
Is that when you lift the heel up?
It's where, you know, that thing at the front, that kind of flat thing, which occasionally just sits over the front of a shoe. If you flip that to the back of a shoe, so it's holding your heel in place, that's sports mode.
That's sports mode. Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. Tom, no, not real. They're into sports mode, but I know what you're saying. It doesn't slip off. Talking about running fast, if we'd have gone down to a certain park run in Poole last weekend, we would have seen a world record broken by a 9-year-old called Louis Robinet. Yeah. What time do you think he did, Ian, at park run?
I reckon he did it in 17 minutes and 40 seconds, but there's controversy. Carry on.
Yeah, so he's a 9-year-old boy and he has completed it in 17 minutes and 40 seconds. So you're right, you've read the notes prior to this. So I'm going to let you go with what's the controversy?
Well, the controversy is some people are saying they don't think it's a record because you don't really keep records for anyone who's under 9. Apparently, parkrun just does like an under 11 at that age. And a couple of people, one person in particular in Melbourne, Australia, said their 9-year-old nephew did it in 17 minutes, 30 seconds a couple of weeks before.
But we haven't seen, has that come out on the official stats? Because we know it says under 11s, but I haven't seen it on the under 11s.
Don't know if it's official stats. I saw it in one of the parkrun groups, the Stats Geeks group, I think it was. Here it was. Randall Massey-Green, my 9-year-old nephew ran a 17 minutes, 30 seconds parkrun a few weeks ago at Rhodes, one of the parkruns here in Australia. Guessing BBC missed that one when their article stated that 17 minutes, 40 seconds time was a world record. So, should we go and have a look, Alan, at Rhodes parkrun and see if this actually happened? I've not done any research on this.
How are we spelling Rhodes? RHODS?
Yes.
So Ian, I'm on the sheet here, yeah, and their age category for junior members of junior male of 10, JM10, I'm sure it's not junior male, I don't know, of 10-year-old is 1720. But this was in 2021.
2021, someone did it in 1720. So presumably, if someone then did it in 17 minutes 30 at this park run, then it wouldn't be a record, so it wouldn't have been really recorded.
True. So let's see if we can look at latest results. Do we know what date it was, Ian?
1 second. I found it. It's Archie Herb. I'm not sure when it was. Oh, here it is, Alan. Found it. On the 30th of September, Rhodes Park Run. In 9th place, Archie Herb. Their recent age category is JM10.
Oh, wow.
You found it?
No, I can't see it on my sheet, but I trust you to have found it. I trust you have found it. So
Yeah,
there we go.
so
It's not really a world record then.
not at all.
Oh well, where do we get this news from? We're going to go BBC News. I think BBC News that you're wrong.
You
Shall we call them out?
absolutely are.
Shall we call them out live now? Shall I
What,
type it in
call
when you're
BBC
wrong?
News?
You can't put a message on this one, which is quite interesting.
You can't, like you say, not only did he not break a world record, he didn't even beat someone's time from a week ago.
No. Oh, bless him.
Oh,
Oh.
I feel guilty of bringing this up, but 17 minutes 40 for a 9-year-old, that's just amazing.
Yes, it is. Yeah. I mean, that was what I was mainly talking about. I mean, to someone to go faster, I think it's absolutely amazing. Yeah. What could it be, a future star in the making? These youngsters like us were in these times.
Essentially, I am curious what happens to young athletes like this. Like, do they carry on and improve, or do they, fade away and find something else?
It's strange, isn't it? So Jamie, my friend, Jamie, his young lad's just taken up running. So he's been a bit of a boxer for a while. His name's Lennon Hughes. I don't mind people telling me that. He's now 16, and he did his first park run, not this weekend, last weekend before. And Jamie made him run from the back because that's what we always do. And he ran a 22-minute from running from the back. Not a non-runner, he's not a runner. So last week he went on his own. He started middle of pack and ran a 20-minute, 20-second. So he's going to go up this week and try and break the 20-minute barrier. For someone who doesn't run, he boxes, he's got the fitness level. I think that's pretty good. Now, whether he decides to take on running or not and keep it up is a whole different scenario, because he's doing it for boxing. He's trying to work on speed work for boxing. But I just think sub 20 minutes for a young lad who's really only done 2 park runs is on the cards.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and well done to him, and well done to anyone who runs. And please don't misinterpret us hunting down and proving the BBC wrong. It was just a case of, we have to report that there was a little bit of controversy with what the BBC was saying. If anyone's to blame here, it's the BBC's fact checkers. They have BBC Verify, Alan. Why aren't they looking into this?
Exactly. Shall we move on to ITV now and talk about something on ITV channel?
Why not? What happened on ITV?
The Kielder Half Marathon. A runner who finished in first place was not registered. Oh no, Ian.
He wasn't at all. And this isn't a case of someone going out for a stroll. He did have a timing chip, didn't he, Alan?
He did have a timing chip, but it wasn't registered. It was a woman who was registered, from my understanding. He hasn't taken the prize and things like that, but bless him. But this is not the first time the Kielder Half Marathon has come into question, because there's also a story of a guy that's come out this week that got a bus. Was that for the last shot for the marathon? Was that a Kielder Marathon, that one?
I believe it was, yeah. It turns out that the first 2 people who crossed, Alan, had the wrong bib on.
Yeah. Do you think there is... Now, I want to say, on this one, maybe this was they actually had bib, they had race numbers, they had genuine race numbers. I have heard over in America where people enter some of the big races and they make up false bib numbers and things like that. I am going to say something here. I've seen someone on Facebook, so I'm doing the Lady Bower 50 this weekend, as you know, Ian. And someone I know has also stated that they're doing it. However, I've looked on registration and they're not registered. So what do I do here? Do I call this person out or not? This is a good question.
It is a good question. When it comes to things like this, I always remember a story my dad told me about a police officer he used to work with.
Right.
He didn't used to work with him. My dad was never in police, but he used to drink with this police officer. He went into a pub one time. It was called the Queen's in Farnworth. If anyone is from Farnworth, they'll know the Queen's. And if anyone's not from Farnworth, which is probably everyone, it's a interesting pub. We'll leave it at that.
Right.
Anyway, my dad went to the bar, buying the pints with his mate to the left of him. Okay. He ordered the pints, grabbed them, turned to his left, no mate. He'd gone.
Right.
Went all the way on a 360, and his mate was standing no to the right of him.
Yeah.
And he said, well, what's going on? He said, well, you see that couple over there? Yeah, they're just about to fight. If you're there, then I don't have to do anything. If I'm on that side, it's the end of my night.
So what you're saying is you're sitting on the fence here.
No, what I'm saying is you're off duty when it comes to being any kind of race person. Yeah, it's not your race. Honestly, stay in your lane. If they win the race, we'll get DQ'd.
Yeah. I guess that is a good point. I just don't like people. There was an element of this in OCR a while ago where people rock up and do an OCR unregistered, and it's quite easy in OCR because we don't have bib numbers anymore. But now we've moved to bans. A lot of races have moved to bans, so they get caught out. I'm a little bit, I guess, aggrieved that people pay for it, and I think we should all pay for it. If we're going to do a race, we should all pay for it.
Well, I might be misunderstanding you, Alan. From what you're telling me originally, I thought that you think this person who says we're going to race it is going to be wearing someone else's bib.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to wear someone else's bib or is just going to run it. That's what I'm saying without actually registering.
Wearing someone else's bib is probably a little bit stupid from a point of view from health and safety. But honestly, you're an adult, and if you fall down a well and unfortunately you get the incorrect medical care because you didn't follow the race rules to register, on you. Absolutely on you. And also the races should make it a little bit easier to change reg numbers. If you bandit a race, so you're not registered, nor have you paid money, nor has anyone paid for your place, that I completely disagree with. That's stealing. That's theft.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. I don't know what's going to happen. I am going to keep an eye on it, I think. My honest opinion is, listen, you let me know. What should I do? What should I do? Anyone out there, come into the pub, let me know when you listen to this on Friday. I'm racing Saturday. Might get an update next week when I find out what's happening. But at this moment in time, this guy is saying that he's racing on the Saturday, he's doing the Lady Bower 50, but he's currently not registered on the start line list. Maybe he might sign up on the day in. So we'll keep an eye out, eh?
Oh, on that, Alan, I've got a bone to pick with my race from last week. I didn't put this on the notes.
Your race, what race did you do last week? I don't know about.
I did the prestigious Rochdale 10K. There was TV crews and everything.
I didn't know you'd done the Rochdale 10.
I did the Rochdale 10K. Okay, it might not have been TV crews. It might have been someone on YouTube. But still, it was the Rochdale 10K and half marathon. Okay?
Yeah.
And it's a race. I ran it. Would I drive to it? Probably not. It's a local race, and we should all support locals. The intern also did it.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be happy when I tell you what happened to the intern.
She went and won the females section and then got disqualified because she caught a bus.
No,
she wouldn't do that. We know the intern wouldn't do that. I was making that up, by the way.
No, buzzies don't run on a Sunday around these parts.
What happened, Dave? Tell me what happened.
She finished the race to get told they didn't have enough medals.
Oh, no. Oh.
And I'm going to make you even angrier.
Go on.
As we were walking back to the tram to get home,
yeah,
we were walking with a mutual friend who had also done it, and he was just talking. He didn't really know, I think at this point, that the intern didn't have a medal, or maybe he did, but he was mentioning his mate who had signed up for the 10K yesterday and paid on the day.
Oh, and they got a medal.
They would have got a medal because he would have finished before the intern. So they were still selling places and didn't have enough medals to give people medals.
This is the life we're living at this moment in time, where racers are not actually making enough money to order that. I mean, the race that shan't be named, we always order. So we have a 2-month lead time for our medals. So we look at how many people have registered, and then we say, okay, so we might get an extra 30-40% register. So we have to order extra medals. That's part of the cost that we factor in. And I'll guarantee we always end up with some left. I don't think we've had any year we've ever run out of medals. But things are becoming expensive, Ian, and if I ordered 20% extra medals, and then all of a sudden, then 20% were filled within 4 weeks, should I then close entry? And this is a tough question for a race director, because now you're turning around and saying, "Don't give me no money," aren't you?
That's true. But on the other hand, if you know you've gone past capacity for your medals, should you be following the airlines example of basically hoping that enough people drop out so you can resell their seats? Because that's what they're doing. They're doing the Ryanair model.
Yeah, and it's not the right model, and I'm not saying it's not, but I get where they're coming from. I don't think it's unjustifiable. What have they promised, Jen? Have they promised to send her one? They
promised to send her one. I gave her mine because I don't really do medals. Had I known they were short, I would have told them to keep mine. Yeah, I like medals, but I'm very much they end up in a draw kind of person, or hung up. I never really look at them. So she got my medal, but we're still gonna. If they send her one, it would be great, and I'll keep it because it feels like she's not received it. Does that make any kind of sense?
Yeah, it does. Especially for someone who runs it really, really fast, and does these races week in, week out, a medal to them type of person is not always the bee's knees. But for someone who doesn't do these events, who doesn't do events like this, and comes in the second half of the race, to them, a medal is probably one of the reasons why they're doing it, because they're challenging themselves and they want that medal. I would always go, if we were going to run out of medals and I knew we were going out of medals, I would speak to people I knew were going to be right at the front and say, "Hey guys, I know you guys do these often. Would you mind if I posted you a medal when you've done? We've got people who are new to sport, will probably come a little bit later on. I'd want to give them a medal." I guess it depends how people handle it differently. I've never been to a point where I've run out of medals, and I hope I never do. Oh, I hope I do, but then again, I hope I don't. It really is a tough one, Ian. But yeah, it's not good.
I agree with you, because Jen didn't finish dead last. There were still streams of people coming after her. And again, Jen was probably a little bit disappointed, but she'll easily get over it because we run lots of events. This was just a small one. I felt sorry for all those people who this was their first ever event.
Yeah. And
they may have trained, and not receiving a medal could put them off doing running forever.
Yeah, and that's what I was mean. I wasn't trying to say Jen was finishing last. Sorry, I wasn't trying to mean that. I was mean that the people who'll be finishing after Jen, if there's none left, they're the ones who I'm gutted for. They're the ones who've trained hard and who've taken it as a challenge to get there.
And like I said, if I knew medals were limited, I would have left mine. It Definitely. Wouldn't have mattered too much to me.
Talking about medals, Ian, this week down at the British National Championships, the first ever one, which was absolutely amazing. Felt super organised. Well, I said the first ever one. The first ever one organised by British Obstacle Sports is what I'm going to say. And I'm going to say it was good. It was the better one of the two organised wise. We didn't have massive queues. It felt really slick. For me, the only downside was not enough people on the start line, but I'm going to come to that in a minute. But I'm just talking about medals, they had bespoke medals for first, second and third places. So you got a medal which looked similar to like what everyone else got, but it was first, second and third on it.
I like that. I think OCRWC has done that in the past, but even if it's not a new idea, I do like that idea that you're getting something different for finishing first, second and third.
So do I. And talking about that, guess what? We've got a visitor.
Have we? Who's come in?
Shall I let him in?
Go on.
It's only the UKOCR Series Masters Champion, James Burton.
Hello, gents. How are we doing?
We're good, mate. We're good, mate. Ian, you don't know this. I'm so a little story. I was watching the race here, and I thought Dassos was going to go out really strong because we talked about this, me and you, didn't we, Ian, about Dassos running really, really well at the moment. And Dassos came past me at about, how long was the race, James? 13, 14K?
It was about 12.5K.
12.5K. So it must have been 11K mark. And Dassos came past me and he was pushing hard. And James was just tracking him in, literally 5 meters behind him, just watching him, just watching every move as he went. Because James knew that if he beat Dassos, he took the Masters title. Less than a minute between you, James. Tell me how it finished, because I missed the finish.
Well, it was a good old race, I'll tell you that. It was. I probably need to tell you the full story. I'll try and say it relatively quickly, but yeah. So I knew I needed to beat Daz, and we were quite close at the start, and we got to the balance beams about a kilometre or so in, and I managed to just jump in front of him and get on a balance beam and got across. And then as I looked round, I saw Daz run into the penalty loop, so he'd obviously fallen off at that point. And I was like, awesome, this is my chance. And then it could have only been about 2K later. And I know that penalty loop was hard because I know that Sam had checked the penalty loops and he said, oh, that balance beam's a tough old penalty loop. So Daz put in an almighty kind of surge after the balance beam. And as I say, I looked over my shoulder a couple of kilometers later and I could see Daz wasn't far behind. So he managed to catch back up with me at about 6K to go, maybe 7K to go. And I was like, okay, I think Daz has got this, but I've just got to keep on to him as much as I can now. And I worked really hard for a few kilometers just to stay close to him. And then, as you say, we got to that point about 1.5 kilometers to go. And I felt good. And I went past him because I knew Daz was strong on the carries. And it was a carry heavy, like chain carry at the end. And I just kept on moving and kept on going away. So I think Daz trying to catch back up with me, which he did so quick, had burnt himself out a bit. I think he had a slip as well, so he had a bit of a gash on his knee. But yeah, it was like push hard, keep going, and Daz wasn't following me. So yeah, managed to get the win from the Masters perspective, come in 7th, and I was very, very pleased. It was a good race. I enjoyed it. And
took the title of Masters, UKOCR Series Masters. Absolutely amazing. Well done. Congratulations. And congratulations to Team Nuclear Phoenix as well for taking the team results. But we'll go a little bit more into that in a minute.
We told a few of the Rumble crew that we let our races do the talking, you know.
Should we go through that, Alan? Let's go through the UKOCR series now. Let's just go through the winners and non-winners. Is that politically correct? I don't know.
The winners and the non-winners. Who do you want first, Ian? You tell me who you want first, and I'll go through them all for you.
Let's go with final team standings first.
Final team standings, Nuclear Phoenix taking it over Rumble Racing. That's the same result as last year. However, 3rd place, Fit Body Farm. Come 3rd, OMRM. 4th, Primal Fitness, new team this year. 5th place, Nuclear Wild Forest. 6th, Team Grit 7th, OPP Warriors 8th, Team Nuts 9th, PT Barn Racers in 10th. Now, before I get any more results, go on, sorry, what was you going to say, Ian?
I might be about to step on what you're going to say. I love what is in the races column on this, Alan.
Oh, yes. Go on, continue.
Every one of those teams had 10 races, which means that they had enough members to have done the maximum amount of races for the team event. And that's awesome because I'm fairly sure last year we had some teams which had only done 8 or 6. So the fact that we've had 10 teams competing doing at least 10 races, it's just amazing, Alan.
Yeah, men, women, only 2 counts. So that's a minimum of 5 actual team members have ran in different races. It is good news. It's great news. And I understand there's going to be another team on the cards next year that's going to try and give them a run for the money, which was announced this week. Team Raw Fit OCR. They are going down the more competitive team. So Team Raw have always had a community team. but now they're going to go down the competitive route. Are you scared, James? Are you frightened? Is the talk on Nuclear Phoenix of shaking in your boots?
No fears, but excited. And
Yeah.
I think all competitive racers that want to be competitive, they don't want to turn up and win. They want to get pushed, and because it raises everyone's game. So excited to see what Raw Fit do. And I really hope there's someone out there that can set up a northern team as well, because I feel like in that area of the country there's some great racers. They come together as a team, it would attract some new racers in as well. So it's really good, as Ian was saying, to see all the teams fill in their quota of races and across the different podiums as well, which definitely has been that next step of progression of numbers this year in the series.
And Alan, about what James said about a northern team, we can still claim any racer who's unclaimed for Team UKOCR, and technically that would be a northern team. And looking, I don't know what you're looking at, but UKOCR is definitely at the top of this team leaderboard. It says it right at the top. So I'm counting that as Nuclear Phoenix first runner-up, Rumble second runner-up, because you can clearly see it. That's what it says.
Right at the top, you're right. And just say UKOCR right at the top.
We win somehow.
Where do you want to go next? Which results do you want to go to next? Men, women, masters?
Let's go ladies standings, regular ladies standings, because we tend to do that next.
Yep. So the winner was Federica Di Carrier. She also won the British Championships as well, which we'll talk about in a second. Second, Becky Neal. So the top podcast host coming in second there, Ian. That's good news. Josie Lloyd didn't have the great race of the weekend, got third place. Karen McQuarrie moved up to fourth. Louise Berryman fifth. Tamar Barkley sixth. Elizabeth Brimicombe in seventh. Shyla Dehaney in eighth. Watched Shyla run at the weekend. One to watch here in that. Running really, really well, Rumble Racing. Ninth, Cheryl Beach, and 10th, Libby Joyce.
I'm right in thinking Elizabeth Brimicombe is for Team UKOCR, correct?
She is, yes. No other team there, so we're claiming her for Team UKOCR.
Perfect. Okay.
I think Becky got second based on the last rig as well that she completed. I think if she hadn't have got through there and taken a place or two, she would have potentially come third. So yeah, good result there.
Yeah, it was great how she take it on and got the extra points there to finish second in the series, wasn't it?
Men, Alan?
In the men, we had last year's winner Daniel Titcombe made it 4 wins out of 4 races that he competed in. He actually competed in more, but he got 4 wins overall. Second, Morgan Maxwell, who've been leading for a while. Third, Jason Brunnock had an amazing race at the weekend. Fourth, Fergal Keeney. Then Darren Martin. James in 6th. Dassos in 7th. Chris Shipley from Who's Hot in 8th. Finlay Greenleaf, named to watch their 9th. Young lad, that 9th. And Ramunas Wickes in 10th.
You just wanted to say Ramunas' name. This is why you're reading out these results.
I know it is. It's because I know how to say it now.
And Dan is the only person left with 100% record, because he won all 4 races that counted last year as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he won 4 last year and 4 this year. Yeah. It's choosing the races wisely. Choosing wisely. We said this, didn't we? When we said how many races you could do. Choose your races wisely. Mm-hmm. He was one of only a few that went up to Beach Ballistic this year, and everyone got the chance, but he was only one of a few of the top runners that went up there. That got him the points,
Although I think, to be fair, I think he's proved his dominance. Like the British champs, he absolutely stormed it. As you said, Jason had a fantastic race and came in second, and obviously Russell. But yeah, it was very clear that he was out from the front, and as you saw on the media side.
Yeah, it was flying. It was flying, and he was in control of himself, is what I'm going to say. When he came past me at that 10K mark, he was in control of his race. He was looking behind. He was checking where Jason was, keeping that gap steady. Not pulling away, but not slowing up at all. He knew exactly what he was doing, Dan. Completely in control. So
female masters.
Female Masters, for the second year running as well, Louise Fenneman takes the title, followed by Tamar Barkley, Encarnio Casellas, Ruth Battersea, which is a new one, and no name in, so we can claim that one. Wendy Brothers in 5th. Susan Jarman, another one with no team, so we'll claim that one. Laura Haywood. Is Laura Howard the top Patreon out of all these? She must be the top Patreon.
You might be. I'm not sure.
Oh no, Wendy. Wendy's a Patreon. Wendy.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got two Patreons in here, yeah.
So Wendy's in first place Patreon and Laura's second place Patreon. Perfect. Carry on.
Oh, hang on a minute. No, we're forgetting. Louise is a Patreon as well. We've got that many patrons, we don't know who they are.
Well, apparently we're going to have two less now.
8th place, Sarah Justin, 9th, Georgina Bishop, and 10th, Erica Poole. Well done to each and every one of you. Fantastic. Great effort, everyone. Thank you.
And I don't think there's any others, so should we carry on?
Yeah, that's it. That's the lot, yeah. Some news on the OCR series, though, Ian. Some news on the OCR series. We are going our first race, which is going to be what are you laughing at, you two? There's something going off here, isn't there?
I got the joke, but I don't think you did, Adam.
No, I didn't go.
We've done teams.
Yeah.
We've done female. We've done men's, and we've done female masters.
That's it, then, isn't it?
Yeah,
oh, there's a masters, mate. Ian, I thought we were going to straight up at top of that. Right, let's go Masters Mail then. Let me find it. Oh, now you throw me completely off it here.
I've got it up. Should I read it out?
Yeah, go on. You can read this one out because I've lost it now.
We got UKOCR in first place. We've then got James Burton, Dassos Ganella, Ramunas Wikis in third, John, I'm going to say Redman in fourth place, Edward Lambert in fifth place, Greg Stubbs in sixth, Richard Jarvis in seventh, Jamie Schofield in eighth, John Poole in ninth, and Craig Simier of Team UKOCR in fourth in 10th place. I was reading something else there, something which is really cool, Alan. With the exception of some of the female masters, all the other top 10 have done the maximum 4 races. So again, last year on the final standings, we had quite a few people doing 3 races, maybe some even did 2. This year, with the exception of a handful of racers, they went to at least 4 races. How cool is that?
It's absolutely amazing, Ian. And I think I'd noticed it, and I think it's an amazing thing that in our second year, we've grown so fast. I mean, that's thanks to James as well. Big thank you to you, James, and British Obstacle Sports supporting us in doing this and helping us. And that if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be able to do it. We don't have the time and the resources, and you guys have really, really helped us. I think it's amazing, Ian. It can only go from strength. This year, it's only going to go from strength. I mean, we've got 2 pieces of news to break tonight for next year.
Okay, Alan, I'll let you break it.
Yeah, let's go.
Well, let's go. James, where are we going? Where's the UKOCR's first race going in 2024?
Oh, thank you for letting me break the news. And equally, it's an incredible team effort. So thank you for all your work on making this happen. I think representing the athlete side, it's been incredible to do these series. So thank you. But yes, we are going to Bonnie, Scotland, to Tartan Warrior on March 24th.
We're going across the border into Scotland. Oh, amazing. Gavin's home venue is this going to be his 3rd race he's put on, I think, isn't it?
2nd Tartan Warrior. He's had other races, and we've had, for example, the Northern Time Trial finals there at Fit Body Farm back in 2020. But yeah, so 2nd Tartan Warrior. And,
so we know his pedigree. His pedigree's good. He's an athlete himself, so he knows what athletes expect. We are hoping it's going to be a showcase for our first event and everything else, which is absolutely amazing. Which also comes. We're talking about showcases and that. Voom are going to give prizes to every podium at all our races next year. So not prize money, prizes in terms of nutrition. So if you come across to any of the UKOCR series races, you finish first, second, or third, you are going to get a little goodie bag from Voom. So a big thank you to Voom on that as well. So yeah, exciting times, James. Exciting.
Great stuff. Yeah. Looking forward to announcing all the other series venues and all the other news as well in the coming weeks. It's going to be another big year. Let's take it up to the next level.
Definitely.
So, Alan, before we move on to any other news, do you have anything else to say about this weekend?
I thought we'd go through the British Champs a little bit and just give some results out on that. And if you're all right with that, cool.
Absolutely.
As I said earlier on, a great organisation. Big thanks to Spartan that down there, and and everything that went off. I didn't see the whole course. I hope people watched it on our social media. The views were good as we tried to get live. Big thanks to Claire for helping me down there. I can't wait until your filming comes out, James. Fabian was down there, and you've got rabbits, Ian. If you wanted rabbits, there were three great rabbits down there, but we had two amazing ones down there. Mark Dixon following the men and Andrea Berquez following the women. What more could you want?
Certainly two good people to keep up, 100%.
That is impressive.
Very much so. Little story for Mark, though. Mark got to the river section and didn't know how to go round, and so he had to go through the river himself. What rabbit goes through the river? Bless him. Have you got the results up here, or am I going to go through them?
I'll let you go through the results if you've got them, Alan.
So, Ian, here we go. We'll go with elite women first. Federica won it, which closely followed by Ellen Wells. Isn't Ellen Wells got a new name now? It's not Wells anymore, is it, James?
No, Wells is the new name. It was previously Meekins. Yeah.
Meekins, right. I wasn't sure. I know she got married recently, hasn't she? And then Karen McQuarrie in third. Karen had a great race in third. Big shout to Karen. She was looking really, really strong when she came past me. Elite men, Daniel Titcombe, Jason Brunnick and Russell Walsh. Russell, coming all the way down there from up in Newcastle all the way down there, taking third place. What was it like racing against him, James? Was it your first race against Russell?
I actually raced his first race in OCR. So I don't know if you recall, Russell was the guy that ran. So when we did the Scotland Ultra in 2021, he raced age group because at the time Elite was gated and I ran Elite. And although I won the Elite, Russell actually beat me, which was a bit annoying because it was a bit of a false victory because I got first place, but actually the age group person was faster. So yeah, I've known for a long time of his pedigree, and he's had a great season in the Scottish OCR series. So I was fully expecting him to do well. He was out in front for with Dan and Jason pretty early on though. So yeah, I was expecting a strong showing, and so it proved. Yeah,
absolutely amazing. In the Masters section, Louise Ferryman to the title, followed by Tamar Barkley and Sandy Powell. Elite Masters men, James, as we said, you won it. Dasa Scanella and Ryan Ibbotson in third. Now, history was made, Ian, down there. So this was the first para elite section. We had four runners. I'm going to get all four a shout out here in the order they finished in. Jamie Gain won it. Jan Tunneman second and Dylan Darby third and Max Haddock in fourth. It was amazing to watch. I've got to give Joe, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I think it was Jan who has got no hands, and I saw him carrying the chain. The chain, and how much was that chain, would you say, weighed, James?
It was heavy and it was awkward. I don't know the exact weight, but it was, it certainly wasn't easy.
And he was holding it with, and like I say, he was holding it with his arms wrapped around him, and it was an amazing sight to see him doing it. Shout out to every one of them. Did absolutely fantastic. Even getting to the start pen when they climbed the walls, I thought that was absolutely fantastic watching them get into the start pen. So yeah, big shout out to them.
Start of something exciting, I think there, and not you referenced Elite. It's the first competitive. We've had paras obviously doing obstacle races, but the first competitive para race in the UK. ever. So we went in the deep end with the British champs, but it seemed to go well, and hopefully we'll get more people competing as well.
And as we found out this week's podcast, that there is going to be a para section at the 3K as well that happens in Forders on 12th of November. Have I got that right? 12th of November?
Yeah.
It is, and that is a Sunday, guys, just so that I know people often think races are Saturday. That is definitely a Sunday. And Alan, while we're at it, should we just mention that on that same day, there will be a Deca Strong happening as well, and a Deca Strong teams. So if you're heading there and you are either doing the 3K champs, or maybe you're heading there to support people who are doing the 3K champs, you could do a Deca Strong, which will probably take you between 15 minutes, half an hour, depending on how you are. And it would be a great way to just get involved, and you get your first part of your Deca trifecta. So why wouldn't you want to do it?
Yeah, fully agree. I'm going to go and do some filming, I think, Ian. So I might actually have a go at this little Deca thing that everyone talks about.
I think you should. The intern is currently debating whether to do Deca Strong and do a Deca Teams with me, which why she'd want to handicap herself after doing a Deca Strong, I've no idea. I suspect we will take longer than her doing the Deca Strong on her own, but I guess love makes you do weird things, so it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Alan, should I go through the age group results? I think for brevity, I'm just going to read out the winners, if that's okay.
Fire away, Ian. I'm going to let you do that.
Okay, so let's go through ladies first. Female under 20s. The winner was Emily Carmen, so well done to Emily. Another Emily took 25th to 29, Emily Spain. I know I said winners here, but also a big shout out to Megan Tranter in second place for that. Megan does a lot of work from a media point of view and has her own OCR podcast, so go and check that out. I think it's called Talking Dirty, I believe. James, am I right?
You're right. Yeah.
So not only is she a good podcaster, unlike me and Alan, she's a good athlete too. Moving on to the female 30 to 34, Kim Rennie took first place. We had Liz Luck winning the female 35 to 39. Dawn Noons, who won the 40 to 44. Eleanor King, 45 to 49. Helene Marie Gilmore, 50 to 54. And Rebecca Cohen, 55 to 59, just edging out a friend of the show, Wendy Brothers. Moving on to the male, we have male under 20. I might have to check this guy's birth certificate, but Harvey Mitchell Divers apparently won the under 20s. Given how long it feels he's been on the scene, I would imagine he's at least in his mid 30s by this point. But well done, Harvey. And no, I believe he is actually under 20. Male 25-29, Matt Burt. Zach Harper, 30 to 34. Grant Thompson in 35 to 39. Jamie Schofield, 40 to 44. Matt Plano in 45 to 49. Jamie Stevenson, 50 to 54. Tony Leary, I've never heard of him, Alan. Any idea?
Someone said he did some in some world run or something once. I've no idea, yeah.
And anyway, Tony Leary, whoever he is, took 55 to 59. Well done, Tony. And male 60 plus, Andrew Durant, who we do know, who's a fabulous athlete. I just wish he'd slow down a bit so we could catch him up.
Yeah, and we do know Tony is Tony. We was only messing around there. We do know that you are a super racer as well, and you have beaten me many times on the course. Hence, I don't race anymore because of you've caused me to have anxiety issues. I was going to just say something then. Big shout to every one of them who race. James, I want to make a suggestion to British Obstacle Sports. I'm going to say it live on here. You don't have to give me an answer. I enjoyed watching the start of both the men and the women's elite races. However, I would have liked to have seen more people on the start. So I'm going to make a suggestion for the next British Championships. Can we have maybe qualifications again to get to the elite status, but also maybe have more people in the start pen ready to run, so that literally the elites go off and then an age group go, the women go off, and a little bit like it. Did you remember a Tough Guy, James?
Yeah. I know
So
what you
a
mean.
Tough Guy, they used to have them in the other pens behind them with a fencing. You had your temporary fencing, and when one had gone, the next one went, and the next one went, and so forth. I just think it would just make it much better spectacle. Might have problems with maybe some queuing, I guess, but
no, and
I
it
would just
is
see more people.
And it is something that I think the dream race and we talk about this in the OCR technical committee, the dream race is a mass start with everyone starting at the same time. Elite, age group, it's all one, and then you get put into your place afterwards. I think you just need to have that level of planning for the course. So the Tough Guy course, there was hardly an obstacle for 7K. Yeah. So you could get 1,000 runners starting at the same time, because then you had the runs up and down the hills and everything, so the crowd got spread out. So certainly something we were considering, and we're not. It's a championship course being hosted by Spartans. We don't have to follow the same structure as Spartan. But I think what did work really well is there was no queuing, there was no issues like that out on the course. It's just factoring the two, because what would be worse is to have a mass start and then you get to the Toros rig and people are having to queue, which was quite early on in the race. So it just takes a bit of advanced planning. And what I did like though is the elite female start was the same size as the male. So I think there were 20 in each. So we've had issues in the past with the elite female field being a lot smaller than the men. So it was great to have a similar size. And also everyone earned their place on that start line as well. And you could see that, because I don't think there was much in the way of the top elite women catching the men, which sometimes presents an issue in races.
Yeah.
So I thought that was good as well.
So did I. I liked it how you had, the men and then the women, a little bit of thing with the women not going as quick as what they were expecting, but that was a little bit behind the scenes. Nothing that was major there. But I just maybe even the other guy, I would just like to have just seen a lot more people in the start pen. Maybe if there was running later, but just get them in and say, right, there's going to be 5 or 10 minutes between the gaps, but just get them in, because it just felt. I know what you mean. The start pen just felt bigger. There wasn't enough people in.
I get it.
But I don't want age groupers running with elites either, because, like you say, the elites have earned that spot. They've earned that spot. They need to be there. I just want that big feel of that big event.
Alan, what I'm hearing is maybe they should just modify the start pen to make it a little bit more claustrophobic. Maybe we could borrow from greyhounds and get little traps for the elites, 20 across, just put them in, traps come out, and they go running.
I like that idea better. Yeah, but maybe not even like that. We can get the horses. The horse boxes have even have bigger ones, don't they? They've got 20 already made. But then that would be fun setting up.
There we go. That's what we're spending budget on next year.
That's the whole budget gone next year. James. So we've got you on tonight as well, because there's some news breaking tomorrow that you sort of messaged me about, and we said, let's get you on. People are going to find this good news. People might find it different. Some might not like it. However, it is news that's going to affect OCR and that. So I'm going to let you take it away. Tell us the news. Give us the inside.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to affect things positively in terms of the partnership. So we are partnering with Pentathlon GB. So many people will be aware, but some might not be, that Modern Pentathlon has selected a form of OCR as its 5th discipline. So it's you've got fencing, laser run, swimming, and previously a equestrian show jumping. Equestrian show jumping's out, and OCR, a kind of a short 100-meter form, has been selected as the 5th discipline. So that's coming in, and then there's an IOC decision next week, which will hopefully vote in favour of that 5th discipline and that format for Modern Pentathlon being a 2028 Olympics. Olympic sport, essentially. So that's all happening on the pentathlon side. So Pentathlon GB are gearing up for that, and how they get kind of future Olympians, essentially. And they've already got 10 obstacles that they've purchased from kind of a European supplier of obstacles, a lot of the 100-meter courses you see out in Europe.
Yeah.
So back at the World Pentathlon Championships in August, we helped them run a kind of come and try session there, which was very successful. Had loads and loads of people trying out the obstacles. Anyway, the discussions there have been had around how we continue to support each other, and we'll be providing guidance from the British obstacle sports side in terms of for their events, because they'll have their pentathlon events that will include OCR, and then Pentathlon GB are going to support us as well. So those obstacles, you'll see some of those at the British OCR Junior Championships on October 22nd. And then we're also going to work together on an event on January 14th, which is the British OCR 100-meter championship at Bath University, which will be super exciting. That'll be on the 100-meter course. The 100-meter indoor running track, and it will be an indoor course in January. So no one will have to worry about cold when they take part. So
and that's where Pentathlon GP is going to store the obstacles, because they're going to open a purpose-built venue at Bath University, from my understanding as well.
That's correct. Yeah, so they'll have an indoor venue on one of their indoor courts there that will essentially allow you to do the sprint obstacle course as many times as they want. So you'll be training their pentathletes, but also any OCR athletes will be able to potentially go and train on the course as well. So working together at a world level, it's kind of been taken a little bit further than that. There is a memorandum of understanding between World Obstacle and World Pentathlon, and actually they're working on a merger of the two organizations. What form that takes is, I guess, to be determined. So I kind of also wanted to come over and say that isn't happening at a British Obstacle and Pentathlon GB side. It's not to say it will never happen. I can't predict the future, but at this point in time, there's no discussion around that happening. But also, we've collectively worked together to ensure British Obstacle Sports is set up in the right way and it's governed by its members. So if there were any organisational changes, that would be down to our members to vote in as well. So yeah, really excited to see kind of where this goes, and great to see already new OCR formats coming into the UK as well.
So putting it in layman's terms, it's a partnership between British Obstacle Sports, GB Pentathlon, but you are still going to be separate entities with separate agendas. And I'm going to use an analogy we use a little bit offline, as in the Olympic rings are there's 5 rings, all different colours, but at certain points they cross over. And that's exactly, I guess, where you're going to be. Would that be a bit more of an analogy?
And I think also we have partnerships with many organisations for mutual benefit. We've got partnerships now with Spartan, with Toros, with Nuclear, many Kitbricks. Yeah. So we've got all of these partnerships. This one is obviously with another national governing body, which is a little bit of a different concept. But just like they work with British Swimming and British Fencing and other entities, they're similar for British Obstacle Sports and Pentathlon GB as well. And the short kind of sprint form of the sport in the UK is not as big as it is in other parts of the world. And their impetus to develop it on their side, because it's going to be part of their 5th discipline and their sport overall, is great for us because it will help us to develop it as well. I'm
pointing at Ian. Listen, you can't see this, but I'm pointing at Ian because Ian looked like he had a question then, but I don't think he has. So I'm going to go with my next question. You said there that at a world level, they are looking to merger, and I am seeing this merger. I personally, I'm going to say straight out, I don't like it. I don't see how there can be a merger, because part of obstacle course racing, there are certain elements, and British Obstacle Sports recognise this. We've got the traditional OCR, we have got the sprint, we've got the endurance, we've got all different sides and all different formats that come under one umbrella. We are talking literally, pentathlon is just, for me, it comes under one of those umbrellas. So I don't see how they can form, but that is my opinion. I don't say how they can form. They are just part of one of the many umbrellas of obstacle sports.
Yeah, no, I think it's fair assessment, there's a lot of work to be done on that side to present what form that takes.
Yeah.
I would love to spend more time on working out exactly what's happening, but also my primary focus is getting recognition for our sport in the UK. But I know they're working hard on what form that is, and it is fair to say that you do have sports which are kind of separate to a certain extent. Like World Aquatics has got swimming and then water polo and diving. Obviously, they all connected to a pool, so there is that similarity. It's not that pentathlon is an obstacle sport though. So
no,
it's almost similar to like a multi-sport concept, which is also like triathlon and other sports. So yeah, a lot to be worked out there, and we do, as British Obstacle Sports, follow what's happening at a world level, and we do try as best as possible. As I say, time is always a constraint to hold World Obstacle to account, because we are, the representative. British Obstacle Sports is the representing our members at a world level.
Yeah.
So we will try and share kind of what's happening there, and also pass on kind of feedback and queries from our members as well.
Well, how will being the partnership affect the application to be recognised by the government? How will that be affected?
So I guess positively, kind of working together. We know that so essentially when you try and become recognised as a sport, the sports councils will look at what your sport is and look if there's any similar sports out already in the wider kind of recognised status of sports. So pentathlon with OCR as part of that sport, there is kind of a bit of a crossover, but I know that Sport England specifically have already spoken to Pentathlon GB, and there has been kind of an endorsement of British obstacle sports and who we are. So they've let Pentathlon GB aren't turning around saying no, don't recognise British obstacle sports. Obviously, that's for the UK sports councils to decide, but in terms of working together, that's, in my view, only going to be positive towards our recognition process.
I'm going to ask, again, this is a World Obstacle question, so you probably won't know the answer. I guess the worry for a lot of people is going to be that if World Obstacle gets taken over by Pentathlon, and I will just clarify that Pentathlon is not in charge of running, it's not in charge of fencing, it's not, to my knowledge, in charge of swimming or short jumping either, although they would have dropped that by now. How can we exist on the world stage? Do we need to set up our own new World Obstacle governing body?
In terms of how do we? Well, I guess it's a good question, and it may be that in the structure. So I have no privy to kind of the exact form, and actually, I think, to be fair, it's being worked out. I don't think World Obstacle or World Pentathlon know exactly, but it could be that World Obstacle still exists in some form, but it's connected to World Pentathlon.
You just talk about, this is a good point, this year that you just brought up there. In pentathlon, we have got 5 disciplines. Now, 4 of them have all got governing bodies somewhere else. So they've got swimming in pentathlon, which has its own governing body, world governing body. I don't know if you know this, James, and if you don't, I'm going to ask the wider audience, somebody come back to me and let me know, because I haven't researched this, but do pentathlon have partnerships with the aquatics side of things? Do they have partnerships with the shooting side and everything else? Is there partnerships with all of these? And I don't know whether they would sit above, below, together, on a par. I don't know. I mean, where do they sit in the world?
So there's no formal, and I guess similar to us, it's partnerships of support. So the World Obstacle, World Pentathlon thing is something very different. But in the UK, where Pentathlon GB work with British swimming, they work with British fencing, etc. But it's not that they get orders from British swimming and they have to follow them, and vice versa. They're independent organisations like British Obstacle Sports and Pentathlon GB. I think at a world level, it is very interesting times. And I understand the nervousness. It's completely fair. Change is difficult, and also we need some kind of reassurance and confidence, I think, in terms of what's happening. But I think my view is we can't focus. We need to focus on what we can control, and what we can control is how we get our sport really strong in the UK, and that's kind of my primary focus. Obviously, that working with World Obstacle and those areas is still a key area, but I think we've still got a long way to go in terms of our growth as an organisation, and being recognised as a sport is only going to take what we can achieve on a global level to that next stage as well, and that next step.
I think that's fair, and I think you probably hit the nail on the head there. We're going to have a lot of people listening to this Swift Half, as we always do. Thank you, listeners, who are going to be thinking, I was one of the 1,650 members to get us to be a sport. And because a lot of times they will look up and will see World Obstacle, and they're going to think, what's it worth? And I know I'm not Ian Adamson's biggest fan, even though he's bankrolled a lot of it to now, but it does seem to be almost a jobs for the boys situation, which is exactly what I was criticising as it was then UKOCR, not UKOCR, whatever we used to be called, UKOSF.
No, yeah.
OCRA.
No, UKOSF. When you guys first came on the scene, episode 3 or 4 or 5, I was criticising it because I have a healthy skepticism of governing bodies. And yeah, I'm sure I'm not the only one who, when they saw what was happening at World OCR, thought, oh, great, it's happened again. Why have I basically done my best to try and promote these guys? Although I never promoted World OCR, but why have I done my best to convince my friends to part with their money to support something that might disappear? Because, sorry, Alan, I've cut across. Just to be clear, if British Obstacle becomes part of pentathlon, I'm no longer part of British Obstacle. I have no interest whatsoever in pentathlon. It's not my sport. You might as well sign up with triathlon, with the Gravy Championships that's down in Hindley. In fact, that would be a better fit. Or the World Coal Hauling Championships. If this becomes pentathlon, I'm done, and I don't think I'm the only one.
Oh, I think
that's a fair comment.
And I think that's one of the most important parts of this discussion, isn't it? It's like the identity of the sport, and that's something where I'm very passionate about as well. OCR is OCR, isn't it? Ninja is Ninja, and you've got two key sports there with that history that we all want to protect as well. And that's kind of why I wanted to come on in terms of that reassurance as well.
And thank you for that, James. I agree with that. If it ever did get to that point where there would be a potential to merge, as in the partnership cease and there will be a merge, am I right in saying as a British Obstacle Sports member, the members get the choice? You mentioned this earlier on, the members get the choice, and it would be their decision whether, and the majority decision, whatever it would be the final outcome. So if, and just to appease Ian at this, not appease him, just explain this to our listeners as well, if it was 51% said we want to remain British Obstacle Sports and 49% said we want to merge, it would go with the 51%.
It's stronger than that. It's an organisational change. It's a constitutional change. It'll be 75%. Okay. So you'd need to have 3/4 in favour of any decision. Right. And that's important that the constitution's set up in that way as well.
And that's what I was trying to get to. It's important that we, as British Obstacle Sports members, as Ian said there, we get to make that decision one way or the other. It comes back to us as British Obstacle Sports members to make that decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in full transparency, we've built that in the UK. We are not in as strong a position globally. Well, for two reasons. One, we're one vote out of 120 countries, and the constitution is not as strong. in that sense, in terms of the decision-making power that we have. So that's, again, something that we want to improve in the future. But I just want to be open and transparent what's happening at a world level versus a national level as well.
No, and that's absolutely fine. I think both me and Ian are very much anti-world, but we're very much British obstacle sports fans at this moment.
I should clarify, I'm not anti-world. I am anti. No, I'm anti people who seem to be doing it for the wrong reasons. I can't say clearer than that. That it just sticks in the craw the fact that, well, I am curious what would happen in 7 days' time if pentathlon gets kicked out of the Olympics. Does Ian Adamson then go to the Wrestling Association or to flag football and try to claim that OCR would make a perfect halftime show for? I don't know. I've no clue. I just, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Ian. You're probably a nice guy, but publicly, what you've done just doesn't come across well to people, and it's messing up my universe.
I think that's the key point there, isn't it? It's because I've seen obviously a lot of this happening behind the scenes as well, and there's a lot of hard work being done and a lot of work, including from Ian and the effort he's putting in. But it's how that's then coming across and the public perception of those changes and things as well, and that takes work. It takes a lot of transparency. It takes a lot of openness, and unfortunately, as you've identified, that's not coming through to people.
Perception's reality.
100%.
And honestly, the perception is pentathlon is a dying sport. I'm sorry, but that is the perception. The biggest news of pentathlon in the last 25 years, other than Team G being quite good at it, was the German lady punching the horse. And it just seems like they are trying to save themselves, but by doing that, could be hurting our sport, which ironically, because OCR was on a downward trajectory, I'm guessing High Roxy's timing was perfect, that pentathlon didn't spot him.
Yeah. And I actually don't think so. When we look at the UK and introducing different elements, I think it's a good decision on pentathlon GB's part, and I know that's kind of what you were getting at as well. But it needed to change to attract new people in the UK. So I'm excited to see more people doing OCR short form course racing. They've got a big youth kind of community that do the sport.
I said this to Ian off air earlier on before you came on, James, that the whole idea for me, or the good news I'm seeing out of this, is that with this merger, that potentially we've got a whole new database of people that want to do some type of OCR, whether they want to do 100 meters and stay at 100 meters, that's absolutely fine. But I can potentially see one or two of them saying, okay, I've done the 100 meters, that was fun. Let me go and do another one. Let me go and do a 3K. Let me go and do a 5K. Let me go and do or whatever, and maybe going somewhere else. Maybe not the top athletes. And I do think this is the thing with pentathlon. To me, you get a lot of good swimmers who do pentathlon, but they're not great at the other things, so they learn to train at them. You get a lot of good runners that do it, but they're not necessarily good at the other things, and so forth and so forth. And this is where it could be very much with the OCR. Do I potentially see any of our current cream of OCR doing really well in pentathlon? Maybe at the 100 meters side of it. Yeah, Tommy Matthews will hold his own with anyone, I believe, in that 100 meters. But will he then be able to do the swimming side and everything else? No, and he's got to go and train and do all of that. I don't see us giving them athletes, but I see them giving us athletes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely see some more on the participation side. So you've got biathlon, which is like shooting and running and laser run, and you've got different sports within it. And even just on the participation side, having a go at modern pentathlon as a sport is a bit like a fun day, because you've losing the equestrian show jumping. Anyone can give it a go and just have a bit of fun with it. So I think participation side, you could see some more people doing it, which would be interesting.
Very much so. Very much so. Ian, before we finish, James, have you got anything else you want to add to this discussion?
Well, I think it's probably important because it's been announced that I am also joining the Pentathlon GB board as a representative of obstacle sports. So yeah, again, that's kind of when I got asked, my immediate kind of thought is I just have zero time to do this. And I wanted to say no. But I also think it's very important that we work closely with Pentathlon GB. And if they're going to be OCR events in the UK, that British Obstacle Sports, which we are doing anyway in terms of guidance, is having kind of influence in terms of what they are and how they run and how we cross-pollinate the sports as well. So that's kind of a role that I'm taking on. I've been co-opted onto the board. So yeah, lots of work ahead and interesting to learn from them as well as an organization. They're obviously an established governing body that have access to funding, etc. How can we learn as British Obstacle Sports from them as we grow in our recognition process?
Yeah, and that's not going to take you away from currently the CEO of British Obstacle Sports, though, is it?
No, so British Obstacle Sport, I think that's, and I know you maybe misspoke, whatever you call malprison. It's probably not a malprison, is it? But
malprison.
You said merger earlier. There's no changes to British Obstacle Sport. This is a partnership, just like it's a partnership we have with Spartan, etc. I know it's clouded with the overall world level things that are happening, but there's no, we are just partnering in how we get people to events, how we have a 100-meter championship, how we support them on their OCR events that they're having with their festival of pentathlon and things next year.
Cool. Ian, have you got anything else to add on this? Because I want to try and finish on a really massive positive note for this podcast, because we have got one. We have got a massive positive note that I've been holding back on.
We do indeed. I suppose I should wrap up my skepticism by saying that I do think it's a great idea, James, for you to be on the board, because that gives us some kind of comfort that it will not be a hostile takeover. And obviously, Alan was too busy to jump on, because I'd love to have seen Alan on the pentathlon board. But I will say, James, that I think there is no one better for the job. And I'll repeat what I said about 18 months ago with speaking to you and speaking to Becky, that you are the people I want representing us out there. Yeah, I can't even remember if we had elections this year or if we had to vote or whatever.
Well, hopefully you vote. It's 2 years, and we get voted back in November.
Okay, but I hope I voted. I've no idea whether I did. My membership might have lapsed, but you are exactly the people I want. And maybe I was too harsh on pentathlon. And to be fair, I probably should clarify. GB pentathlon are kind of in the same situation that you are in, James, in that GB pentathlon are not you. IPM, WWE, XYZ, whatever cool name they've given themselves this week. They are just mainly concerned with pentathlon in Great Britain. They are being told from up above what's going to happen, and they're doing the best that they can with it. And from the sounds of it, they're embracing our sport, so we should support that. Yeah. Alan, would you agree?
I would agree, yeah. James and Becky and the team have always got my vote. While ever they're in charge, I will back, because I back people.
Thank you for the words. I think hopefully people that are listening have seen and we've built up an element of trust with the hard work that all the volunteers have put in. So yeah, trust us. And on a personal level, and it's a bit of a cliche, but we're both sports. They do have the power to change lives, and that's why I'm volunteering the time I'm volunteering, because it can really have an impact. So both from a British Obstacle Sports perspective and from a pentathlon GB perspective, let's get more people out, active and participating and doing the sports. That's kind of the ultimate goal, really. And they're working together in partnership, I say, like we're doing with Sparta and Nuclear, etc. That's kind of what the goal is. So yeah, no, thank you. And more hard work ahead. But we're making progress, as we've seen this year with the series, and the championships, and it's fun, and it is growing again, and we can see that excitement in the sport. So it's just keeping that momentum really going into 2024.
Thank you, James. Thank you. So, Ian, I'm going to finish on the positive note of the weekend. There wasn't only one event going off on the weekend, there were several, and the UK now has a world champion OCR racer. Big shout out. It was in Mammoth. Drum roll. Libby Joyce. Well done on female team. What a team, Ian. What a team she had. What a doubles partners. Nicole Miracle, Lindsay Webster. Oh, my God. What better team could you want to be asked to run on that team?
Exactly, Alan. I can't believe that Lindsay and Nicole were so lucky that Libby was able to find time to run with them.
My thoughts exactly. You know, I've heard that they came to it. They actually asked Libby to run on the team. They said, "Will you come and run with us? We need someone that we can trust to get us through this, to complete it, to win." And Libby performed. Libby did the business. Big shout out to you. She got second, I think, in the 3K on the Friday, if I remember rightly.
She did.
But then World Championship on the Sunday in the female team race. Big shout out.
Massive respect to Liv. She works so hard as well. She thoroughly deserves the plaudits, because she really is someone who's committed to what she does. And she'll probably be in a few years returning the favour to some youth athletes. So very, very kind of Lindsay and Nicole as well. And as I say, hopefully it will continue to spur her on to more.
Definitely. And I want to give a shout out to her resilience as well, because she didn't have the greatest Saturday. Drop zone once again got her. But to come out again on the Sunday, put that behind her, and then run with probably the greatest athlete in OCR in terms of Lindsay, and definitely one of the other greatest out there in Nicole, and go and smash what she did and come away with gold. That's good mental resilience, and a lot of people should look at that, and for such a person with such a young age, look at that and say, hey, if that person can have the mental resilience to put something behind her, so can I, because today is a different day.
And Alan,
yes,
it was a bumper day for the Joyce family, because not only did Libby do that, Jessie Joyce got on the podium in the kids' race too. Took third place.
Yeah.
Hey, that was on the British, wasn't it?
I believe it was, yeah.
Spartan Kids, it was in the morning.
Spartan Kids.
Yeah.
No, actually, you know what? If pentathlon can take over world obstacle, whatever they're doing, British obstacle, we've now taken over Spartan UK. So it was the British champs. Anything that happened that weekend was British champs. So well done, Jessie, for getting on the pod. Oh, I shouldn't say that, because we've got an actual British champs in the youth coming up soon, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
We have, yes.
Pretty sure Jessie's competing as well.
Right,
that's
Alan.
going to be good. That's going to be a good event. 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away with James.
October 22nd. Yes. So kids or parents, get your kids signed up. 6+, 10+ for competitive as well.
I think we might have buried this earlier, but let's go for it again. So you've got kids in 2 weeks. We then have the 3K in about a month from today.
November 12th. Yeah.
And then we've got the 100-meter happening in January, which is not too far after November.
Yeah, January 14th, Bath University.
So it's championship weekend. And with the UKOCR All-In Championship in December, it's every single month maybe I made that one up. But but yeah, for the next 3 out of the next 4 months, it's championships, Alan.
It is. Ian, this was a long episode. Are you going to do your business?
Beg your pardon?
You know what I mean.
Oh, we usually wait till we stop recording. Oh, that thing. Okay. Right, okay, listener. And on that, it is a goodbye from me.
A goodbye from me.
Thank you, listeners. It's been a pleasure once again recording this. I know it's been long, but I do hope you've enjoyed. You stay safe. You keep on running. Thank you very much indeed. Bye.